My name is Alex. I'm going to be your tour guide today. I'm going to take you around one of the biggest, busiest, and oldest movie studios in the world, Universal Studios. Before we get going, let's make sure everyone has their 3D glasses. Do you have yours? Yes, yes, yes? Okay, if you need a pair, raise your hand, scream and shout so we can get you some. We do need some 3D glasses in the second car. Can we get some front of the second car? Anyone else? Raise your hands if you need them. Okay, right here in the second car, front. Amazing. We'll take care of you, and then we'll get on the road. I'm going to be your tour guide. I'm going to be telling you about how we make movies and TV shows here at Universal. One thing I won't be doing is driving this tram. You're welcome, okay? They don't allow me to handle anything bigger than a Prius for everyone's safety. So instead, we're going to have a professional driver behind the wheel. Today we've got Hayden up here. Everybody say hi, Hayden. Hi. So now we're all formally introduced. Oh, there is one more important person for you guys to meet today, and that's my special celebrity guest star for the tour. You guys know him. He's very famous. You've already seen him on the tour today. He's the host of That's My Jam on NBC and the Tonight Show. But he's also a very good friend of mine. He just bought me a churro yesterday. So sweet. Say hello to my bestie, Jimmy Fallon. Hey, Jimbo.
Oh, hey there. You made it. Welcome to the Universal Studio Tour. I'm Jimmy Fallon. I'll be making sure you get through experience and the greater stride.
Hey, Dan.
They're the best. I love them.
Alex. Sorry, Jimmy. I thought that churro was a gift. My bad. I'll pay back. Let's see, or you drop something of value off the side of the tram or have any sound or video issues. Reach up, grab the red E-cord that runs along the center of the ceiling of the tram, and I'll be back to assist you as soon as it's safe to do so. Otherwise, stay seated, keep your arms and legs inside the vehicle, use that red cord if you need any assistance. The studio is private property. If you drop your phone and you just can't wait to use the restroom, pull the cord, remain seated. No smoking allowed, and be prepared. Our tour features loud noises, sudden tram movements, fire effects, and water effects. So you're going to want to have out your cameras for all the great photos. Just keep an eye on them so they don't get wet. And finally, for your safety and the safety of those around you, do not use selfie sticks while on board our tour, okay? All right. Well, we have laid all the ground rules, which means we get to hit the ground running into our studio. Right now, we're crossing out of the theme park and into the studio on what we like to call our Universal movie timeline. So to the left and right of the tram, you're seeing movie posters from just a few of our favorite films here at Universal. We've most likely made a few of your favorite films because frankly, well, we've just made a lot of films. We've been making movies here since 1915. That's right. We're currently in our second century of filmmaking here on property, and it all started with our founder, Mr. Carl Laemmle. He was originally a German immigrant, moved to America about 1884, became obsessed with the art of motion picture. So much so that he wanted to create an entire city devoted to the craft of film, and that's exactly what he made right here, a city. This is not Hollywood or Studio City or Burbank. No, we're in Universal City, our very own filmmaking city. Off to the right-hand side is our city fire station, Fire Station 51. It's a real fire station. It has to be, because to be a real city, as we are, you gotta have a few every day, sometimes at all hours of the night, to bring you guys your favorite TV shows. Now, where we film these shows and movies, mostly in these great big buildings we call sound stages. To the left is our largest soundstage, Soundstage 12, built back in 1929 for the movie musical Broadway. And since then it's housed some of the most memorable scenes in all of filmmaking history, like the ones you're seeing up. We have 36 sound stages currently on the lot. They're almost entirely full of television shows these days, including one of our most popular TV shows that's streaming on our streaming service system, Peacock. It's a show called Bel-Air, the dramatic retelling of the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. And here to tell you a little bit more about their process are the stars of the show.
So what is, you put egg on the cheese, you put cheese on there, and you cheese is wrong. Oh, how many seats do you think, right? It's gotta be a lot. It'll probably fit the whole Bel-Air casting crew. We gotta get one of these for Mitch. And for sure, you're lucky for y'all. The dates are really nice and rich, right here on Universal Live. Right. Some of Bel-Air's most popular scenes have been filmed right here. Jabari, what have been your most memorable moments? Come on, man, there's so many to choose from. You know, I remember before your set when Will first enters, and at that moment his life changes forever. What about you? Well, The Bel Air Academy gym set is here too, and I remember you having to sit in that cold ice bath for hours. Yeah, and that was really fun. So I couldn't feel my toes. No, but seriously, my favorite part of this lot is the talented crew who put it all together. Hair, wardrobe, makeup, set design, props, and transportation. Yes, Transco's the best, and they got the sweetest lines for us to play with. Speaking of, if we're gonna get a ride like this, we better go talk to Transco now and let these people go back to their tour. That sounds good. It's not allowed to drive. Oh, not if I've got the keys. Left turn. Man.
Thanks, boys. Yeah, if you look around as we drive about our studio, you might see a few of the people they're talking about going about their business, doing their jobs here on the lot. There are a lot of people that work together to make these productions possible. About 80 to 90% of filming that takes place here in the industry happens in our sound stages that you see around you. To the left-hand side, you see stage 14 there. That's actually where they were standing in front of in that clip. This is the sound stage they use the most for Bel Air. It's also where they brought you the second season of Hacks with Gene Smart, Hannah Einbinder, Megan Stalter. And before that, it was home to 6 seasons of Superstore with the whole Cloud9 team, America Ferrera, Ben Feldman, Mark McKinney. You heard me say before that most of our sound stages are full of TV shows. That's because we're making a lot of television in this industry right now. We're in a TV boom. Thanks to our streaming service system, it's allowed us to greenlight more television than ever before in history. And more shows means more competition for our eyes, which means better shows to choose from, so I'm happy. One of my favorites just finished filming their 4th and final season in this soundstage to the right, Never Have I Ever. It's one of Mindy Kaling's shows. She was also here for the Mindy Project, worked with NBC on The Office. And actually right next to her, one of her co-workers from The Office has been working on his show, Craig Robinson. He's been making his show Killing It here in this soundstage to the right. They're working on the 2nd season of that show. This is also where they brought you 4 seasons of The Good Place with Kristen Bell and Ted Danson, and before that, a little Mr. Mayor with Ted Danson. So Ted Danson loves this stage. He keeps coming back because sometimes you just want to go where everybody knows your name, and that's sort of his thing, isn't it? So cheers to Ted Danson. And cheers to this Ted too, Mr. Teddy Bear out here. He just got his own TV show, did you hear? Yeah, it's a prequel series, so it'll take place before his famous films. You'll see it on the Peacock streaming service later this year. Look for it. It'll be called Ted. It's a good name, strong name. Now, Ted's in front of these little brown buildings here. These are our bungalows. It's what we call our offices here. And this is where they have Monkey Paw Productions. That's Jordan Peele's company. They brought you Get Out, Us, Nope, Dwayne The Rock Johnson, $7. They brought you Young Rock, the sitcom. And this is also where Illumination Entertainment has their offices. They brought you a lot of great ones. Sing, Despicable Me, Secret Life of Pets, and most recently that Super Mario Brothers movie everyone's been talking about. Here's a little sneak peek.
Core elements in Nintendo's game franchises lend themselves to become a really fun movie for audiences who have never even seen a game. The way we've approached this film is to make the film for fans. We've made a commitment to a film that really honors this incredible game. It's a great, fun experience at the cinema.
All right, folks. Well, we are about to cross out of what we call our front lot, cross into the back lot. And as I always say, it's business in the front lot, but it's a party in the back lot. So get out your cameras, folks. You're going to love this. Off to the left-hand side, our first exterior set here on the lot. Our Metropolitan set, our big city here at Universal Studios. You see, inside of our sound stages, we're mostly doing interior scenes, the scenes that happen inside, bedrooms, offices, kitchens, things like that. But sometimes you gotta see the outside on camera. We call those exterior shots, and that stuff doesn't always fit so well inside of our sound stages. So instead, we bring it to the back lot, build it as big as possible. So the back lot is home to many different large-scale exterior sets. You're gonna see a lot of them. But our first stop is gonna be a closer look at our Metropolitan sets, the largest of these exterior sets. They all represent different types of places in the world. That way our filmmakers have a lot of options. They can go through their script and hopefully find every single location they need here at Universal Studios. That's the goal. So if they ever need a city, any city, they can come out here to our city set and create it from scratch. It's been almost every city you can imagine. Chicago and the Blues Brothers, my hometown of Kansas City in the movie City Heat. It's been London and Austin Powers, The Spy Who Shagged Me, and Hobbs and Shaw with Dwayne The Rock Johnson. Obviously, we do New York out here quite often, and nobody knows NYC better than my pal Jimmy Fallon, so I'll let him tell you more about it.
Hey everyone, welcome to New York. I got my start right here in New York on Saturday Night Live. This is actually my old neighborhood. One's got mugged over there. An old woman. Tough lady. This is my favorite hot dog guy. Hey buddy, how's it going? Remember me? No. Just like old times. Gotta love New York City. I'm walking here! Yeah, it's cool guys. I was just walking there. So it's not exactly New York, but a lot of times when you see New York in the movies, it was shot right here on the Universal Metro sets. If you can make it here, you can make it anywhere. Even if you make it here on the Universal line.
And they have been making it out here. In fact, you may see, if you're in the back couple of cars, you might have seen it just a moment ago, first couple of cars off to the right-hand side. We've actually got some decoration happening out here. Set decoration is anything that they add to the set to make it specific to the area they're trying to create. They can set it back in time, they can set it in a different city, or they can just make it a certain part of a city. And right now, you're seeing a lot of kind of debris and kind of pushed over trash cans. As we pull up forward, you might see some more, some fences with some graffiti on them. They're clearly trying to create some kind of rundown part of a city out here. For Quantum Leap, actually. You guys remember that show Quantum Leap from the 90s with Scott Bakula? Well, it's Bakula. This time it stars Raymond Lee, and they've been filming a couple of new seasons of this show here. It's been streaming on Peacock and NBC, so check that out. And they've been using our city again and again and again. There's a lot of different places. If you know anything about Quantum Leap, he's a time jumper, so he jumps to different time periods. And we can create any time period here in our city by just changing up a little bit of the decoration, right? We can pick out all the street lamps. Right now it's pretty much nondescript. If we want to create an area that's back in time, we can actually search through our storage of different kinds of lights and set pieces that'll create that type of time period. Here's that graffiti I was talking about. Any signs that you see that are specific, like this says flea market here, that's been added by the production. Otherwise, we tear all that stuff down, keep it nondescript, like I said before, so that we can transform it from the ground up into any major metropolitan area. Like I said, it's recently been home to Quantum Leap. Ted, Never Have I Ever has been out here a bit as well, so they can really use it for any type of production. We have set this area back in time for TV shows and movies. Specifically, I'm thinking of Newsies, which is Christian Bale's musical from, I love that musical. Yeah, it's set in the 1920s in New York. So they covered up the street with some cobblestone to make it look like it was set back in time, added all that old-fashioned dressing to the set, and transformed it into 1920s New York during the Newsboy strike. They also created 1920s Los Angeles here with Angelina Jolie for Changeling. Oftentimes what they'll do to set an area back in time is cover the street up with dirt. That's a really easy way of taking away the modern asphalt blacktop, covering it up with some dirt. You immediately feel like you're in a different time period. Of course, the blue building you guys see off to the far right-hand side, it's a little modern. If we want to get that out of there, we might cover it up with a green screen like they did for the 1940s for Captain America, the First Avenger, which is filmed out here. A lot of big action movies come out here to film because they can do their stunts and special effects that they can't quite do in real cities like New York or LA. So Captain America was out here, but also Spider-Man 2, The Amazing Spider-Man, Transformers with Shia LaBeouf. I mentioned Hobbs and Shaw a little earlier. They all had big action sequences take place in our city. Down the center of our main street, New York Street, that's where they build the finale obstacle course for American Ninja Warrior. They were just out here about 2.5 weeks ago filming their big obstacle course with all of their amazing athletes out here on our sets. Now I want you guys to look off to the right-hand side. I know that movie studios, they get a bad rap for being all fake, all an illusion, but I want to assure you, every brick you see out here, it's 100% real plastic. That's right, genuine plastic up there. It's true, it's true. We create our siding for our buildings in a big machine called a vacuum form press. It's like a waffle iron, right? You put in whatever mold you want, brick, stone, then you stick in a sheet of plastic, press it down like a panini press, melts it into the proper shape that you want, pull it out, it's a clean sheet of plastic shaped like brick, and then you paint it to look like the type of brick you're trying to create, staple it up to our wooden framework here, and now we've got a city building, right? We build our sets out of cheap, lightweight materials. That way we can change them again and again. We don't feel bad we got to blow them up or burn them down in fires or whatever we want to do to create these special effects sequences for movies. So we make them out of some wooden framework, plastic siding, foam rubber, fiberglass, and a really good coat of paint. But all on camera, it looks just like the real thing. Our cameras are very easy to trick. They don't quite have the same depth perception as the human eye. So things that look a little bit more flat and unrealistic to us, seeing them here in person, they'll still look more dimensional on camera. It's an easy thing to try to bring these things to life with a little less dimension, easy peasy, because the cameras are just a little bit easy to fool. Now, big music videos love to be out here as well. They just did a big music video for a solo artist from a K-pop group, Blackpink, that just premiered. Also, speaking of Pink, she did her music video, Walk Me Home, out here. Edge of Glory, Lady Gaga, Wildest Dreams by Taylor Swift all had scenes take place here in our city as well. But let's keep going, folks. I gotta take you guys all the way around the world this afternoon. So right now I'm taking you from the concrete jungle of New York to the real jungle of Skull Island. Let's do this.
It's the original King Kong that saw that I like films that just take you away from your real life and sweep it up into an ancient Kong, which does that. I mean, you're on board the ship, you're sailing to a lost island, you're monsters, creatures from, prehistoric times. So I was thrilled when Universal invited me back to Skull Island. It was great to have you along for the ride. Now, we have created this 3D immersive experience, so you're going to need to have your glasses. Don't put them on yet, just in your hand. The Universal tram is one that's going to be a little black narrow trail on Skull Island, allowing the visitors a little sneak peek of some of the wildlife at Skull Island.
All right, thrill seekers, stay seated, keep your arms and legs inside the vehicle at all times, and hold on tight to your loved ones. By your loved ones, I mean your cell phones, obviously. Hold on to your cell phones, okay? We love those cell phones, but they do not love Skull Island, I promise you that, okay? So keep a firm grip. Turn your camera flashes off if you're going to use your cameras during the experience, and get out your 3D glasses, because you're going to need those at any moment now. Well, adventure awaits us in Skull Island, so we better not be late. Let's go. spit at me. Ew, gross. Spit at me. Yeah. Alright guys, you can take off your 30 glasses. You won't need those for a little while. You will need them later, okay? So don't throw them out the window. Keep them safe. I'll tell you when you need them again. Cool? Awesome. Let's keep going. Let me tell you more about that experience. That was designed by Peter Jackson himself and the wonderful team at Weta Effects. Weta Effects is an Academy Award-winning visual effects company. And maybe you've never heard of them, but you've definitely watched their movies. They brought you Avatar, Rise of the Planet of the Apes, the Lord of the Rings trilogy. They brought you Godzilla vs. Kong, Black Widow, Shang-Chi more recently, and most recently Avatar The Way of Water, the long-awaited sequel to Avatar. That entire movie, all 3 hours worth, is mostly visual effects, which is probably why it won them their 7th Academy Award this year at the Oscars. Even the acting is done with effects because the acting is done with motion capture. We call it mocap for short. That's how they do King Kong as well. King Kong is played by an actor named Andy Serkis. They put motion sensors on his face and body. He performs the real movement and the expression for the character. But then in the computer, they create King Kong himself as an animated form, place that over Andy's real movements, and presto, we get a very realistic moving ape. That's how they create Andy Serkis' other famous mocap characters. He also plays Caesar in Planet of the Apes and Gollum in Lord of the Rings, my favorite. Or I guess I should say my precious. So good. But we don't have time to get all helms deep into my love for Lord of the Rings, not today, because right now we're going to the Universal Picture Car lineup, so get out your cameras, we're hitting the road, Jack. A picture car is any vehicle seen in TV or film. As soon as a car is on screen, it's a picture car. Doesn't have to move, doesn't have to work, doesn't even have to technically be a car. Any vehicle qualifies. Boats, planes, motorcycles, flying cars, gyrospheres, they all count as picture cars. You even saw a little half of a car in that Jimmy Fallon the little video that I showed you guys earlier. That's a picture car. A car cut in half, also a picture car. We got a little bit of everything here on our lineup, so get out your cameras, let's check it out. Got the Deuce Coupe here from American Graffiti, a George Lucas film. This is the story that really kick-started Mr. George Lucas's career before Star Wars. Got some Back to the Future 2 cars. These cars are supposed to fly. They're also supposed to be from the year 2015. You know, the future. We got another flying car here from Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets. Here's a secret, it's just one of 17 and a half versions of that vehicle they made for the movie. They needed a bunch of them to accomplish this different special effects they had to do in the film. Now down at the very end, you're gonna see a big tank. It's from Transformers, okay? And it's very powerful, so be careful. It's made out of this super high-tech plywood, very advanced. Careful, careful. You might get a splinter. Yeah, no, it's just wood. It's just painted to look like metal. We have incredible artists here in the industry. They can take surfaces like plastic, like plywood, and paint it up to look like absolutely anything we need. And we use a lot of plywood, we really do, because A, it's cheap, B, it's light, and C, it's easy to blow it up. And we love blowing stuff up on camera. It's one of our favorite things to do, really. Oh, speaking of which, right now I want to take you guys to a little island off the coast of Costa Rica, where the biggest ever blew up was Jeff Goldblum's career. And you're welcome, Jeff Goldblum.
Welcome to Jurassic Park.
Yeah, we're going to Jurassic Park. This is where we keep set pieces and props from the original trilogy of Jurassic Park films. So let me cue up that beautiful score by the great John Williams, Steven Spielberg's favorite composer over the years. Just did the score for The Fabelmans. Working on the new Indiana Jones. This song does a great job of setting that feeling of awe and wonder we're supposed to feel when we first set eyes on Jurassic Park. Look around, lots of picture cars here from the franchise, including this extra long one to the left, the Mobile Lab from The Lost World, also made mostly out of wood. You see where the wood's chipping away? I'm telling you, we make everything out of wood, including the dinosaur cages here, which maybe isn't the smartest idea, because dinosaurs can chew through wood pretty easily. So we're just kind of waiting for when they're going to chew through and escape. But no, look out, everybody! We got dinosaurs on the loose! Oh man, who could have predicted this? I mean, it only happens every single time we drive by. Oh man, so sorry. It's okay. Hayden knows the protocol in these emergencies. Drive extra slow so that everyone gets spit on. Very good, Hayden. Excellent work. Folks, let me show you that mobile app up on your screens. Here it is in the Lost World. This is the scene that necessitated the vehicle being made out of wood because it needed to be light enough for them to dangle it precariously from a rainforest cliff just like that. Look at that. Be even cooler if that was a real rainforest cliff, but that's a parking garage covered in some dirt. Looks good though. Now they filmed this scene with a lot of rain. Why? Because they wanted it to be extra scary, and rain can do that, you know? Rain can increase the tension, the emotion of any scene it's used in. Think about it. Sad scenes, they get sadder in the rain, right? Romance scenes somehow get more romantic in the rain. And studio tours, well, they get a little bit more exciting in the rain. I'll prove it to you. Here we are in Old Mexico. We're going to drum up a storm for you just the way we do it in the movies. With one exception, we're going to add some sound effects, which we typically wait to add till the editing process so the sound doesn't mix with the sound of the actor's dialogue, but it's nice to have it here for the full effect. There it is. So now that we've got our thunder, we got to add our rain. I'm going to cue it up with the weather team here. Guys, can you get the rain going for us? All right, on my cue. And action. Nice. There we go. This is how we make rain in the movies, folks. We're using a very complicated, very intricate system. It's called a sprinkler. Maybe you've heard of it, yeah? Shoots the water straight up. That way it falls back down as naturally as possible. Now, if we were going to really film out here, we need to bring in some better lighting. If you don't light rain correctly, you'll just make your picture blurry. The trick is to light from behind the water from a lot of different angles. Then light your actors from the front so you can still see their faces. Hang tight. We need to cut this water. Guys, can we cut the rain? We're getting too much. Hey guys, where'd you go? Oh no, too late. We got a flash flood. Take cover, everyone. This is not good. Ooh, part two. You might want to cover up. You know, you never know when you could get wet. Oh, I'm so sorry, everyone. I did forget to say, if you're in a blue seat today, you may get wet. If your seat is blue, you may get wet. Check your seat just in case they're all blue. Every seat is blue. Bummer. That is too bad. This is Paul Giamatti in Big Fat Liar. He's a great actor, but the guy does not know how to handle a flood. You know who did better? Lady Gaga. She stood in that same flood in a full-length gown for her music video for Judas. Refused to use a stunt person. Very brave of her. Very brave indeed. Actually, there's been a lot of brave scenes happen here in Old Mexico. This is where they filmed scenes for Pirates of the Caribbean, Curse of the Black Pearl, Star Trek Picard, Nacho Libre with Jack Black, the bravest luchador ever. But if you're looking for the true home of the brave here at Universal, look no further than right here, my friends, in the Wild Wild West. Welcome to 6 Points, y'all. This is where we created some of the greatest westerns of all time with some of your favorite cowboys like Destry Rides Again with Jimmy Stewart and Miss Marlena Dietrich. Added a couple of new favorite cowboys to the roster in recent years when they were here in 2019 for Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Quentin Tarantino's latest with Brad Pitt, Leo DiCaprio, a couple of no-name actors you probably never heard of, but they're pretty good, pretty good. Now this area has been used a lot recently for episodes of Quantum Leap as well as some episodes of Killin' It with Craig Robinson. But really, this is where we got our start here in Hollywood. Yeah, when we first opened the studio back in 1915, we were making mostly silent Western movies, and we made most of them right here in Old Mexico, excuse me. Now, as we turn the corner, folks, I'm going to show you a couple of our newest sound stages. You'll see 30 through 33. In these sound stages, they've been making The Voice. Of course, it's season 23 of The Voice. Got a lot of great coaches, including Miss Kelly Clarkson. We wanted to give you guys a little greeting. Here she is.
Hey, what's up, studio tour? I'm Kelly Clarkson from The Voice, and we shoot our show right here in Stage 31. One of the newest stages in the world.
You can do well with chance.
Is a game changer for all of us.
I'm Brown on your son. These premieres Monday and Tuesday on NBC.
Yeah. Now, folks, we're actually going to pull into one of our most historic parts of the lot. It's a little area called Little Europe. This is where we made most of our monster movies. If you're a fan of monster movies, we're the king of monster movies here at Universal. Made all those original classics, Frankenstein, Dracula, Wolfman, Invisible Man, Bride of Frankenstein. And these movies were made mostly right here in this little village, Little Europe. But if you're a big scary movie fan, I gotta warn you, Little Europe isn't much of a scary place nowadays. Now, it's more of a good place from the good place. Welcome to the good place, y'all. You made it.
You, Eleanor Shasta, are dead. This location, afterlife, I have never ever seen this. You're in the good place.
I'm not supposed to be here. I can't risk going to the bad place.
Maybe he's not all that bad.
How can I help you?
What is the bad place like?
Well, it doesn't sound awesome.
So Little Europe is awesome at being good places and bad places. It all depends on how you decorate it. Right now, still looks a lot like the good place. It reminds me of other fantasy locations we've created right here as well. This has been Cinderella's Kingdom and Rogers and Hammerstein's Cinderella, starring the best Cinderella ever, Granty. It's also been the fictional kingdom of Genovia in Princess Diaries 2, a royal engagement with Chris Pine and Hathaway, a millennial classic. But it's not all just a fantasy here in Little Europe. In fact, it's called Little Europe because it's great at playing real places in Europe. The square off to the right-hand side played Paris, and the Hunchback of Notre Dame made here in 1923 with Mr. Lon Chaney, the man of 1,000 faces. That movie's now 100 years old. Amazing. This has also been France in the Muppets movie with Amy Adams in 2015. It was Germany in our very first Oscar-winning picture, made All Quiet on the Western Front here. Maybe you've heard that title recently. They just made a remake with a German production company that also took home a bunch of Oscars for itself. So a very award-worthy story, All Quiet on the Western Front. This was also Spain and City Slickers with Billy Crystal. And they also did the scene in Angels and Demons where they blow up the Vatican right here. It was Rome, of course. You know, you can't blow up the real Vatican. They don't let you do that. So they had to come out here, build a fake Vatican, blow that one up. It was a little extra work, but worked quite nicely for Angels and Demons. Now, both Angels and Demons were out here for Buffy the Vampire Slayer. In our Europe sets, they did a lot of the flashback scenes when Angel and Spike first became vampires, were running amok in old Europe. That kind of modern monster content that we see nowadays, the Buffys, the Teen Wolves, the Vampire Diaries, the Wednesdays, all that stuff is still very reminiscent of our original monster movies that we made right here in the 30s and 40s. These movies carried us through the Great Depression when all the other studios were really struggling. Why did they keep us afloat? Well, they were low-budget films. They didn't cost us a lot to make. As you can see in these scenes here, I got a lot of angry villagers. Well, in every story there was angry villagers, so we could reuse all the angry villager costumes over and over again, saving us money on the budget. The torches and pitchforks could all be reused. They walked along the same cobblestone streets without much changing because our sets were perfect for the next little European village being terrorized by a terrible monster. So we saved a lot on the production budget, but we still earned a lot at the box office. These movies were so popular, and they were truly scary. You might watch them now and not be very scared because you're used to a lot of special effects makeup that these audiences were not familiar with. Actually, our monster movies really created the role of a makeup designer in the movie industry. Before that, actors were really doing their own basic beauty type of makeup. Actors like Lon Chaney for Quasimodo and the Hunchback of Notre Dame, he was creating that kind of grotesque look on his own by himself. It wasn't until Frankenstein with Mr. Jack Pierce, our innovative makeup designer, that we really started to try out these new sci-fi makeup techniques that were immensely scary for those original audiences. Folks, stay seated, hold on to your things. We're going inside of a soundstage, obviously. There's been a big movie in here. You can actually see they've left some equipment out, so we gotta be careful. They will be back next week to film. They're just out for the weekend, okay? So we gotta be respectful of their space. I can't tell you anything about the production that's currently in here. It's an NDA, non-disclosure agreement. They don't want me to spoil any secrets. So all I can tell you is it takes place in San Francisco, and that's because they didn't tell me that. I just looked to the right. There's a sign. It says, "Welcome to San Francisco." So, you know, just using my context clues. But if I sorry everyone, it looks like we're having a little bitty earthquake. Earthquake, okay, stay seated, stay calm. These things typically pass very quickly maybe a churro specifically, go ahead and pass it all the way up here to me, okay? All your snacks to me. No one has a churro, really? Okay. I tried. The worst of it is over, folks. Just kidding. Cue the water. Yeah, just send all the water, guys. All of it. Whatever you got, we want it. That was incredible. This movie is going to be awesome. Everything went perfectly. The action was on time. The direction was impeccable. Can you say something else? Thank you so much. And your acting was amazing. Those panics were so natural, so believable. Just what we wanted. So good, you guys. Folks, that was Earthquake. It was built after a movie Earthquake in 1974. And no, it is not currently a hot set. That was a lie. I'm sorry. I lied to you. How will I ever regain your trust? Well, here, I'll show you a scene that really did film in Soundstage 50 because they've used it for a lot of TV in the past. This is Bones, starring David Boreanaz. And this scene actually features the exact same effects you just witnessed. They're called special effects, which means that they're really happening as opposed to visual effects done in the computer. So real movement, real fire, real water, stuff like that. But I hope you're not tired of our water shenanigans because I want to take you guys on a quick vacay to the beach. Let's go to Amity Island, everybody, from Steven Spielberg's Jaws. Amity means friendship. That's what we hope to witness here today, the start of a new friendship between the sharks and the humans of Amity. I know that sounds a little unrealistic, but listen, we've tried everything to solve our problem with these sharks, except diplomacy. So today we've sent out a human representative, my friend George. He's in the water right now, meeting with the leader of the sharks to hopefully, just hopefully, form a truce. So let's see how it goes. This could be history in the making. All right, good. They're talking. This is good. It's a good start. They're talking. Yes, he's screaming. Okay, and bleeding. Wow. Folks, I don't think we have a truce today. I think negotiations have unfortunately gone under for now. So we're gonna have to get out of here, find someplace safe to hide. Hey, could you find us someplace to hide out for a second? Oh, okay, yeah. Right here behind these cans of gasoline. This is good. Everyone stay seated. We're gonna be fine right here. Hayden's found us the safest spot you can expect to find. I didn't expect that, sorry. Oh, that was so scary. Are you guys okay? Is everyone here and accounted for? Yes? Anybody missing? Raise your hand if you're missing. Only if you're missing. Found you and you. You're found. You're safe. You, sir, I found you. You're good. You're found in the third car. You're safe in the back of the third car. Got you. You guys are safe in the fourth car. Whew. What a relief. Folks, that's our mechanical shark, Bruce. He's modeled and nicknamed after the original shark from Jaws, but he's not the original. And that's a good thing, really, because our shark shows up every single day ready to work. And I cannot say the same for the OG. See for yourself.
That's how much of the shark. The shark was frustrated. It didn't really work. It didn't work hardly at all. Wherever we were on the island, here the radio, they were always saying, the shark is not working. Repeat, the shark.
We just waited around.
The shark worked well enough for a while there and then finished the whole time. So I really owe the shark a lot.
I think he owes more to his editor, Verna Fields, because she was handed a lot of messy footage of this shark malfunctioning and not looking scary at all. She thought, maybe it's scarier what we don't see of the shark. So upon her request, they did a reshoot where they shot from the POV of the shark. as if the camera was the shark. Made it look like something was following the characters in the water, but you couldn't see it. So not only could they leave out their footage that was not working, they also increased the suspense of the movie. They made it scarier because it kept the audience in suspense for longer. The film went on to be a huge hit, we all know that, but you may not know that Verna Fields, the editor, took home the Oscar that year for editing. Very talented lady, Miss Verna Fields. And if we're talking talented women, well, I gotta bring up Dolly Parton. This is her chicken ranch off to the right from the Best Little Whorehouse in Texas. And it marks the entrance to our residential section of the lot. We got a whole neighborhood back here full of traditional style homes that could be from anywhere USA. And I'm actually gonna take you down one of the most talked about residential streets in all of Hollywood history. We know it as Colonial Street, but you guys know it best as Wisteria Lane from ABC's Desperate Housewives. Here it is, folks. Now this street has been around a very long time, so you guys know it from Desperate Housewives, but there's been a lot of different television shows and movies here over the years. Let me show you around, starting on the left with the purple house here. This is 1313 Mockingbird Lane from the Munsters. Right next door is the yellow house from Never Have I Ever. This is where Davy lives, but it's also where the Hardy Boys lived in the 70s. Right next door is Lynette Scamo's house on Desperate Housewives, but that's where Ronald Reagan lived in Bedtime for Bonzo. So you see, these houses have a lot of history. The two on the end are less old, okay? The pale yellow and the teal at the very, very end, those are relatively new. They were added by Desperate Housewives when the show got picked up for season 2. The blue house on the end actually replaced a big mansion that used to sit there that you might have seen in Casper the Friendly Ghost. Christina Ricci and Bill Pullman, they filmed on this street as well. Now, this is a great place to talk about how we can change the season. This neighborhood obviously looks like it's a spring neighborhood right now, and LA doesn't have the most distinct season. So when we want to create seasons out here, we'll bring out some dried leaves to throw around the lawn for some fall, or maybe add fake snow for a Christmas or winter season. The blue house here to the left is Brie Vandecamp's house on Desperate Housewives. She lived right next door to Another Perfect Mother, because the blue house next door to that is the Cleaver residence from the 90s movie version of Leave It to Beaver. If you love the 90s, you'll love the Buffy the Vampire Slayer filmed her Emmy Award-winning episode Hush right here on this street. But let me show you what the street looks like in a bunch of different examples here that have filmed over the years. The Burbs with Tom Hanks, of course. There's some of Casper right there. Lots of music videos here. Nellyville, of course. We also had Smash Mouth. They completely changed the look of their street for their all-star music video. It's all about the set decoration. The picket fences, patio furniture, mailboxes, that stuff's all picked out fresh for each new batch of characters so that the audience doesn't realize we're always in the same exact neighborhood. For Desperate Housewives, they even painted the houses colors they thought reflected the personalities of each of the individual ladies as an added way of telling the story subconsciously through color, which is something filmmakers do a lot, because colors individually are supposed to have different effects on the mind. When you see a certain color, it's supposed to make you feel a certain way, at least a little. So filmmakers have caught on to this. Sometimes they'll show a lot of a single color in a movie, what we call a color motif, to set a tone for the entire movie. Or maybe they'll dress a character in a certain color to make the audience feel a certain way about that character. That's why some of our favorite superhero teams are distinguished by colors that suit their personalities, like the Ninja Turtles or the Power Rangers or maybe the Transformers. Which, speaking of which, we've actually got a Transformer out here. We've got more cars for you coming up, especially from Fast and the Furious. So if you're a fan, get out your cameras. Bumblebee off here to the right is yellow. That says something about his personality. Yellow makes us feel happy, energetic, brave. Sounds like Bumblebee to me. The black Charger here from Fast and the Furious says a lot about the character that drives it. It's a sleek muscle car, all in black. It's the ultimate bad boy car, which makes it perfect for Mr. Dom Toretto. So, you know, colors can do a lot to help push forward our stories, but sometimes filmmakers choose not to use any color at all. Alfred Hitchcock made Psycho in black and white. He found the violence of the film would be a little too intense for audiences of that era in color. They weren't used to color yet at that time. But you guys are, you can handle it. So here we are at the Bates Motel live and in color. Up the hill, one of the oldest sets left standing in all of Hollywood, the original Psycho house. Ooh, there's our original Psycho himself, Mr. Norman Bates. Look at that. Norman Bates is the proprietor of the Bates Motel. Usually there's 12 rooms, 12 vacancies, but I do believe someone checked into room number 1 just last night. It's exciting. Oh, ooh, looks like she's checked out for good. Is that blood? Oh. We might want to get out of here. I'm not sure if he'd be happy if we saw this. Oh, hey Norman, what's up, buddy? No, we didn't see anything. We weren't paying attention. We're just gonna drive away now, and hopefully you'll be okay. We gotta go, guys. Norman, stay back, okay? We don't want any trouble. What a sight, though. I can't believe we still let him live here. Let's go get a better look at his mother's house here on the hill. One of the oldest sets left standing in all. The song you just heard was composed by Bernard Herrmann, who actually scored many of Hitchcock's most famous films. But before he was scoring film, he scored a radio play called War of the Worlds, directed by Orson Welles. Later, Steven Spielberg made his own version of that story right here on our property. In fact, right here in this very spot, welcome to the set of War of the Worlds, directed by Steven Spielberg. This is where Tom Cruise and Dakota Fanning hide out from an alien invasion. That, my friends, is a real 747 Boeing airplane bought and destroyed for this very scene. It was bought from an airline graveyard. That's where planes go to die when they're too old for flying. And if you're curious about how old this plane is, I can't tell you exactly, but I can point out that none of the seats have a video screen and all of the seats have their very own ashtrays. So, smoking on airplanes old, that's for sure.
The airplane crash site setup was perfectly. You don't sleep. You're doing good. You're doing good. What does it mean? What does it mean? Listen, I want you to close your eyes, okay? Now close. Robbie, get in. Get in.
And Robbie, we got a cruise. That airplane was purchased for about $60,000. Not a bad deal for an airplane. But then to get it here, they had to chop it up into 4 different pieces, slice off the ceiling so it could fit under overpasses, and drive it all on flatbed trucks. All that time, money, effort, $300,000 approximately in total to get the plane here for what ended up in a grand total of about 4 minutes of the movie. That's it. Yeah. At the end of our tour, just a final reminder to pull that red cord if you need assistance. I'm going to need some assistance telling you about the next set on our lot. It's pretty...
Yeah. Only happens when a team of collaborators. Yeah.
Oh no, we're not really yet.
Former child star Ricky
I'll be there soon as we get up here. Okay. Okay.
Oh, it's right there.
Okay.